enterprise don't just run IT. This session is being recorded. I'd like to introduce our host, Derek Cullen, Chief Information Officer at Stikeman Elliott and Vice President and National Leadership Development Director at the CIO Association of Canada, and our special guest speaker, Walid Hijazi, Academic Director of Executive Programs at the Rotman School of Management. Walid, I know there's a lot more to your resume, but we'll leave it at that for now so that we can carry on with your presentation.
Terrific. So do you want me just to launch right into it?
Sounds good.
So I think everyone's here to hear from you, Walid. My role is small. We love when you talk strategy. So maybe you could kick us off.
Perfect. So thanks, Derek, and thanks for the opportunity to present here today. Just to add one note about my resume, I'm Academic Director of Executive Programs at the Rotman School of Management. All of the non-degree activities at the school are under my portfolio. So I'm the Academic Director overall, but each individual program has an Academic Director. Okay. Our biggest growth area right now is really around IT transformation, and AI. That's sort of every single client that we have is asking for these types of topics. So gallery. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to make sure I can see everybody. So I've got two screens going. And so I'm going to push a lot of you. So I'm going to come to you and just ask you questions so no one can hide. And that's one of the hallmarks of my program is whenever you're in the class, I always come after people, especially when people look away. So the idea here is becoming the modern CIO, lead the enterprise, don't run it. And there's a big difference there. And the fundamental underpinning of that is the difference between being a manager and being a leader. Okay. So when we think about the CIO role shifting from operational to enterprise leadership, that's really what I want to think about. Because if you think about where CIOs are coming from, CIOs are actually being promoted through the ranks, often from IT departments, most often from IT departments. They know a lot about IT. They know everything about IT. They know how to manage it. They know how to put out fires. But the question is, what is the difference between that and leading the organization? And, I'm just going to ask a question. I see Alex there. Hi, Alex. How's it going?
Doing well. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Alex, answer my question. What % of senior positions are filled before they're advertised?
I would guess 80%.
Yeah, good for you. I knew I picked the right person. 80%. 80%. And the thing is that percentage gets higher and higher as you go more senior. And that's why we often talk about this as being the hidden job market, because these jobs never get posted. The idea is these senior folks that are looking for a CIO or other C-level executives, they already have someone in mind. So in light of that, and it's hard for me to see the names of people, but Gerald, are you there, Gerald?
Yes, I am.
I got a question for you, Gerald. In light of this statistic, Gerald, what are the two implications for your personal strategy? So given that 80% of these positions are filled before they're advertised, what does it mean for you personally, Gerald?
Well, my position I'm in now is one of those 70%. Somebody I'd met years before when the position I'm in now essentially opened, and then there was a delay in them staffing it. So I just kind of kept in touch, and networking, I would think, is probably one of the ways that certainly I've found positions for not only myself but people I've hired on is through the networking.
Thank you, Gerald. So that's 2 for 2. Let's keep the streak going, but it's all about networking. Gerald, thanks so much for that. It's all about networking, and it's all about interacting with people. And for those of you that think networking really doesn't matter, you're completely wrong. Your role is to get onto that preferred list of candidates. Can I ask someone for the next part of the strategy? And who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to Hal. H-A-O. Hal, are you there, Hal?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm here.
What is the next implication? The first one is this networking is so important. You got to get on that preferred list. What is the second implication of the fact that 70, 80% of these positions are filled before they're advertised? Hal, what does that mean for your personal strategy? That's a hard one, right?
That's a hard one. Yes,
Yeah.
I may not be able to keep it 3 out of 3, but I would say like networking, but know the right people to network, right? Not just network for the sake of network the people who may be able to get you that next job that you're looking for.
You know how I'm going to give it to you. So that's 3 for 3. So good for you. That's amazing because you want to network with the right people. I couldn't agree more. Okay. But I'm looking for something else, but I'm going to give you credit for that one. Okay. Lil,
Thank you.
I can't see the rest of your name, Lil. I can't see your name. It's not working here. I'll go to I'm just trying to find some names here. Winnie. Winnie, are you there? I guess not. The next part is really around your personal brand. So number one, the fact that 70 to 80% of these positions are filled before they're advertised means you have to network. You have to network extensively. As Hal said, you have to network with the right people, but you have to know things. You have to build your personal brand. And whenever we talk about this on the personal brand, there's something called EQ. And so EQ, emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman talks about 90%, 90% of the difference between the top leader and the average leader is driven by EQ. That's sort of the soft side. Then there's the hard side. You got to know stuff. And that's really what this program is really meant to do, is to really help you to two things, really help you understand the difference between being a manager and a leader, big differences. But secondly, know stuff. What are those relevant issues in the domain of a CIO? And make sure that you lean in. And that's why for those of you that do sign up for this program, I encourage you to lean in as much as you can, acquire as much as you can, network with other people in the class, but also learn as much as you can from the program. So, excellence is the price of admission. To get that C-level role, you got to know your stuff. You got to have all of the boxes checked, know the right material, be interesting. If people talk to you about different topics like AI, you can't be a PhD in everything, but you should know the importance of AI and its role and its impact, for example, on the CIO role, which I'll talk about more in a minute. So knowledge, confidence, competence, you want to be at the top of your game. And as we say, excellence is the price of admission. And, this seems like a simple slide, but it really isn't. So many people I've talked to, thousands over the last 20 years, they become a manager or a director. They know the IT role or the operations role better than anyone. They're at the top of their game. And then when they get promoted to move into a more senior role, they always get pulled back into putting out fires. And so this idea about moving from the left to the right is not as easy as you think. And the idea is when someone is intentional about their leadership journey, when you're intentional about your leadership journey, you want to start developing those leadership competencies in advance of being promoted. Not after being promoted. It doesn't work that way. In advance of being promoted. And here's the CEO of Google. He said it perfectly. That move is not easy. And that's why he talks about leadership's about learning to let go and really empowering people at all levels of the organization and trusting them to do the right thing. I can point to probably 200 leaders that I know that haven't really learned this lesson, and it's creating problems within their organizations. So leadership is really about empowering those others, trusting them to do the right thing, and you moving on to do more leadership type activities. Now let's think about AI for a minute. Okay. Let's think about AI for a minute. Okay. And I have a question for Jonas. So Jonas, get ready. I have a question for you. but there's this famous saying, AI will not replace you. People using AI will. Jonas, do you believe that?
Yeah, I do.
Right. So you're not just saying the politically right answer, right, Jonas? You really believe it.
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's good. All right, so that's good. Ranjit, I have a question for you. Ranjit, are you there? Okay. Maybe he's not there. All right. So now I'm going to ask a question, and I'm just trying to see some names here.
Sorry, I am here, but yeah, I was on mute.
That's okay, Ranjit. Okay. Do you believe this, Ranjit?
I 100% believe this statement.
Okay. So now let me ask you this question, Ranjit. The latest version of ChatGPT, Ranjit, thinks longer before responding. I don't even know what the word think means, but it really gives PhD level answers. So Ranjit, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is more relevant or less relevant? The idea that these large language models, these algorithms, can now think and give you PhD level answers. Does that development in these large language models make this statement more or less likely?
I think it makes it more likely because when you look at the utilization of AI, and I'm going to give this preface that I actually gave a presentation at my ALT 2 days ago about AI, and we had this exact same conversation. You can't just go to AI, even the latest version, if you use deep reasoning in ChatGPT and say, give me a briefing note on how to present AI to my ELT. It can give you a 10-page document if you ask it to do deep reasoning. The questions are, is it actually relevant to your ELT? Is it grounded in your institution? And C, is it accurate? Because even deep reasoning will give you hallucinations. Or it'll give you an executive summary, and then as it goes through the document and its reasoning, it totally ignores that executive summary. So it's not just AI will replace you, because if I say, give me that briefing note, it could be completely wrong or inaccurate. But utilizing it and refining it with your institutional knowledge, with your experience, with how you need to craft that story, that is how you're going to use AI. So you're not going to reduce from 50 staff to 5. You may go from 50 to 40, but you want to reduce 35, you may have 15 or 20 that are now AI agents, AI specialists, AI architects, things like that, utilizing it for your institution. That's what I presented the other day.
Yeah, and what a great answer. Thank you so much for that. I have one more question for you.
Absolutely.
What's going to happen? You said it, but I want to call it out specifically, but you said it. I'm going to give you an A+ for that answer. Okay, so good job. The idea is, what is going to happen to the productivity difference between the people using AI and the people not using AI once these models get so sophisticated?
They're the ones that are going to redevelop their job descriptions for the future. So if you look at, for example,
Got it.
You look 10 years ago to a cloud architect or a data center architect. Data center architects aren't needed anymore. Cloud architects are what needed today. So when you look at business analysis or project management, that PM role is going to evolve in the future. That BA role is going to evolve in the future. So staff, our employees, and us need to evolve with it and how we're going to utilize this technology.
I totally agree. And thank you so much for that, Ranj. It's a fabulous answer. Derek, I think you should let him in the program with a scholarship. He did a great job on that.
Excellent job. I think Ranjit may already have been a graduate.
I was in that third cohort. I'm just here listening
right.
because I love your presentation. So
you learned that from us. I wouldn't have happy. I'm just kidding. But that's fabulous. That's a great answer. And the whole point here is that AI is here. We have to embrace it. And even those models are getting so much better, the productivity difference is going to massively increase between those using it and those not. And as we just heard, things are going to be redefined. Okay. Now, there's this beautiful article in the Globe and Mail. This guy here, he's the CEO of a company called Geotab. They do fleet management, but he and 20 other companies listed in this article in the Globe and Mail, they basically tell their employees, If you're not using AI, we want you to leave. So the whole idea is that we have to completely embrace AI, and if we don't, we will be replaced. I think that evidence is incredibly clear. Now, okay, this is an article that just came out last week from the OECD, okay? And Angie, are you there? Angie, are you there?
Is there more than one Angie? I'm here.
Well, I'm going to take you, Angie. So there we go.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you your opinion on something.
Okay.
So the OECD, this international organization, looked at 4 possible trajectories for AI. And what were they, Angie? Number 1, systems look similar to today. So progress stalls. That's one possible outcome. Things stall. Number 2 is progress accelerates. And so now what happens is we get incremental change. Things are starting to get better, but we're still in a similar world, okay? But things are improving incremental. The third one is progress continues. So systems can autonomously complete many professional level digital tasks. So progress continues. And the fourth one, progress accelerates. And there's something called AGI. What do we mean? This means that computers are actually doing things that currently they can't do. These algorithms can actually reason and do things that humans can do. So you don't need that human intervention. The AI can write the memo and send it. You don't need to intervene. So Angie, progress stalls, progress slows, progress continues, and progress accelerates. This one here was when you actually have the AIs that can reason like humans. Angie, which one of these 4 you think is most likely?
Oh, the last one, it will accelerate, but it'll be over time. But I think it's also going to do a progression. It's going to slow and then it will continue and then it'll normalize and then it will accelerate. So it's not an either or situation. It's actually a building to get there.
Yeah. And so Angie,
and there's still going to be a human in the loop to a certain point until we do validation and we get to the trust factor. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. So to get to AGI, artificial general intelligence, McKinsey, this is 2024, says it's decade, if not a century away.
Oh, no. I don't agree with that.
So when do you think? Give me a number.
No, I think your 2030 is more. So less than a decade. I think that we're exponentially getting there. And as soon as quantum comes in at a broader scale, I think we'll be there within the next, 2 to 3 years.
Angie, this class is full of geniuses because all of them are plausible. But Angie, to your point, the CEO of Anthropic says 2 to 3 years. The CEO of Google DeepMind says 3 to 5. And Sam Altman says in this president's term.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable. So to your point, Angie, it is growing exponentially. It's incredible. Now I have a question, and now I'm going to dig right into your role as the CIO. I'm going to dig right into your role as the CIO. There's all of this money being spent. I spoke to the CIO of a big insurance company in Canada, and she put it perfectly. She said to me, AI is hitting every line except the bottom line. And when you look at this MIT study, it shows that 95% of AI initiatives are not paying off. And there's lots of reasons for that. Okay. But the MIT study gives all of these here, these possible lists: learning gaps, poor workflow integration, overinvestment in some functions, pilot to production chasms, user experience issue, internal build failures, lack of executive sponsorship, and change management. One thing that you'll learn in the CIO designation program is the whole issue around change management is something that's really difficult for CIOs, as is the finance function around demonstrating the ROI and measurement biases. So, I'm going to ask Sam. Sam, are you there? Sam there? Okay, I'll go to someone else because Sam's not there. Pedro, are you there? Derek, where are these people? I'm going to go to Danny. Danny, are you there?
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you, Danny. You're a hero. What happened to those other two?
Sorry, can you repeat? I'm just driving.
Okay. Oh, you're driving. I'm sorry, Danny. Are you safe to drive? I was going to ask you, so you continue driving because I wanted you to look at the screen, so I won't go to you. So you drive safely, okay?
All right,
So
thank
you
you.
just drive. Robert, are you there? Okay. So what I'm going to ask then is I'm just going to ask the question of all of these functions, which one do you think the CIO has the most influence over? Anyone? Can anyone just open your mic and tell me which one do you think the CIO? So Doris, thank you.
Yeah, I think the executive sponsorship and the change management piece is really critical. I think it's fundamental and it's it's essential to make progress, I think, because number one, AI is new. It's not new, but it might be to your executive team or boards. They're hearing about it in the news, so it's really important to educate them on it. And if they're not educated on it, you've got to figure out ways to inform them about the progress, the pilots, why they're working or not working, and where the value is. I think that's the influencing part in the change management piece. You really need to influence them on where the value is and where the ROI potentially is.
You know,
And
Doris,
how it's going to change, your business.
Another fabulous answer, Doris. This class is full of PhDs. I'm so thrilled. But I have another question for you, Doris. We had a session at Rotman last week, and this McKinsey partner said the following, and I want to get your reaction to it. This McKinsey partner said, for every dollar you put into the cost of the initiative, the cost, so if the build, the training, the rollout, if that's going to say cost 20 million, she said, for every dollar, you have to put a dollar into change.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's 20 million, that is going to cost to build and roll out and train, you should put 20 million into the change initiative, the change management. Doris, how do you react to that?
I agree. I agree. I think we don't put it. I think in any kind of transformational change, this is sometimes where companies fail. They don't invest on the people and the process piece, and that's really key to embrace this technology. So I agree with it. Might even be more.
Yeah. And what do you think most leaders react when you say the build is going to be 20 million?
Yeah.
Let's put 5 million into change,
Yeah.
let alone 20. How
It's
do
true.
they react?
It's true. It's not, it's it's ambitious. It's tough to get that budget. You're right. People will typically, put 5 or less. But it is going to require leadership to transform that mindset that we need to invest in that area.
Thank you so much for that, Doris. What great answers am I getting today? This is fabulous. I'm just really, really impressed. And so, when I look at this concept, it took me a long time to get to this, and I'm using this in a lot of the executive programs. On the left are the common barriers that prevent organizations from really reaping the benefits of AI, really reaping the benefits. And then I've got lane 2 enablers, but really what's on the right-hand side is, opening the pathway to having AI really unlock value for the organization. And I believe what this program does is this program helps CIAs develop the perspectives and capabilities that allow the organizations they work with to cross the bridge, because there's all of these barriers. So there's another company we're working with right now. The CIO there said explicitly, it's a $2 billion transformation going on. And this CIO said, without quality data, the entire initiative will collapse. So you just think about AI and all of these enablers, model-ready data, a unified operating model, guardrails. So you think about governance, and Can someone tell me, anyone put your hand up? Maybe that's a better way to do this. Put your hand up so I can identify someone who's available and say, what is the difference in governance between gates and guardrails? What is the difference between a gate and a guardrail? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Not?
Yeah, for me, your gates and your milestones are your objectives you're trying to achieve as you're going through. Your guardrails are what are keeping you safe along the way when you're not looking.
Thank you. And what do you propose? Okay, thank you. Rick, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so for me, gates are stuff that you really need to cross over in order to get to your goal, to your objective. Whereas guardrails is you must stay within that area so that you cannot go past it. Security guardrails or process guardrails, whatever you want to call it. So it says constrained versus gates are go across it.
Yeah, and which one do you think is more effective at helping companies develop and deploy their AI?
Gates. Gates first,
they...
just at least to get something going, and after that, guardrails to make sure that they don't go beyond that.
Yeah.
But you got to do both things concurrently, right? So
this is a big debate. Okay, Sean, what do you think?
Hi, thanks. I was just gonna say in terms of the, gates and guardrails, just from my view, gates are kind of like stop breaks, and guardrails are kind of like a framework. So, I think, achieving guardrails are probably important. Guardrails are like the framework of entry and getting buy-in, right? Of remaining within the blockage of how we're going to use the AI and creating a framework around it, which is what I would associate guardrails to.
We can debate it forever, but I like what you say. I find gates as difficult. Very often, when you have people in compliance and security, when they create gates, it's an inhibitor. Whereas guardrails is when the organization creates the governance and says, these are the guardrails, don't go outside them. And then you let people develop and roll out their strategies, obviously with oversight, but you want guardrails rather than gates. Now, I'm sure this room, there's a lot of people that will disagree with me. Because I know there will be many, that's why I'm going to go on, so I don't get into an argument with you. But we discussed this and we believe, and I was on a panel at the Vector Institute on governance, and the consensus in the room was create the guardrails, empower your people to deploy, but they know where the guardrails are. And gates are problematic because those are often obstacles to moving forward. The point of this slide is that your role as a CIO and a C-level executive is to help these organizations cross this bridge. And that's very important because when you look at this, 95% of these AI initiatives are not paying off, which means we really have to think about how to get across the bridge. Okay, so Derek is my inspiration. Derek and I, we wrote this article that got published on the Rotman website, but why leaders must be strategists for digital transformation. And there's 3 big points to take away from this article, but it's available on the Rotman website. Okay. And the idea is AI won't replace CIOs, but it will replace CIOs who behave like IT managers. I believe that. And that's the whole idea, is that you can't behave like a manager. That stuff there is going to be disrupted by AI and significantly, but CIO leaders will not be. The modern CIO must be an architect of human AI enterprise. Someone said it before, I think it was Doris, there's got to be that human in the loop. And the whole idea is that behind all of this AI and these strategies are people, because when you listen to Avi Goldfarb at Rotman speak about AI, he talks about how AI complements human judgment. And finally, strategy is no longer a plan, it's a set of choices, and CIOs must shape those choices. So this article that Derek and I wrote is really framed around what we teach in the CIO program. So the program has 5 weeks. There's 5 weeks, and it's Monday and Friday. It's all online from 1 to 4. The first lecture you get is on leadership. Then you have a lecture on delivery excellence. Then there's a lecture on finance by Rajiv Chib, who's an executive in residence at Rotman. Then you get governance, risk, and compliance together with board and relationship management. Then you get digital transformation with me. And then you have diversity, equity, and inclusion, along with vendor and contract management.
And Kyoko is also on the call. She's the instructor for that module too.
And I should add, she's a superstar. You're really going to like that session. Then Jeff Leonardelli does leading teams. Then Brian Silverman, who's a leading strategy professor with a global reputation. He does understanding your IT strategy. Derek comes back and does cybersecurity. And then Rotman's Taylor Swift, Maya Dijik, she does executive presence. Okay. And we don't have the date set, but perhaps Derek could speak to that. You have a mock exam and then your final certification exam. So Derek, even though I have 25 more slides, I think I'll stop here and turn it back over to you. Does that work?
Sure, that works. No, a super compelling example of what the cohort or students will experience when attending this program, Walid. Thank you so much. And I noticed amongst the attendees, you have some very loyal fans. There are about 15 or more people who are graduates from one of our 5 cohorts. So this is really great to see everyone coming back to hear from you, Walid. Thomas, you had a quick question.
No, I was just trying to give the claps, but I hit the wrong button.
No problem.
For the cohort people who are here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas.
Welcome back, Thomas. So for those of you who have not attended this Rotman's program in partnership with the CIO Association, again, it is a 10-week program. It's structured in a way virtually to, for us as leaders, to not take a huge amount of our time. We all know we're very busy in today's day and age. It consists of a 10-week program, a final exam, joining the CIO Association. And by the way, the CIO Association is now about 650 members strong across Canada. Folks like yourself and I. We are 9 chapters, and it is just a great community that is growing and growing. It was growing to begin with, but now it's growing exponentially as a result of this partnership and this program with Rotman's. Did anyone have any questions about the upcoming cohort in April, about the program itself, or did anyone who is a graduate want to speak up and share some of their experiences for anyone who hasn't been on the program?
I do have.
Derek, I'm happy to say a few words just for anybody that's thinking about the program. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to connect with me offline. Happy to share my learnings, but I think a big part of it obviously is the great conversations that you have with the professors and the speakers that have real world experience as CIOs. You cannot beat the practical conversations and the practical experience combined with the academic, I think. And then the other piece I would just highlight is the network. I know for me personally, it's been a great way to expand my network as CIO, with other fellow CIOs, to really learn and connect with others, so you can have an informal conversation. I've got this problem. How have you tackled it? So you cannot beat the network. It is tremendous value. So great program.
Thank you, Doris. James, you had your hand up. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks. Great seeing both of you again, and I fully agree with Doris and Ranjit. We're in the same cohort together. For myself, I was really interested in leadership, and I know we in education we throw around that word transformational time and time again. But there's been 3 big kind of transformational education events for me, and this was definitely one of them. And reason being is I was able to engage with a lot of these topics, but then come back to my institution, have different conversations and ask different questions, and really elevate those conversations and getting to that leadership away from the management piece. But then it doesn't stop. So participating in the CIO-CAN Victoria chapter, being able to go over to Vancouver, increasing the network and speaking the same language, but asking very articulate questions as well, and sharing that info with folks. It's been fantastic. It was such a great time spent. So thank you for putting that on.
Excellent. Thank you, James, and thanks for becoming part of the community. Thanks for the feedback. Wakas, CDK.
Yeah, thank you. Good day, Waleed. I don't know if you remember me. I did the program strategy with you, the AI strategy, long time ago.
I do remember you.
Awesome. First off, I gotta say, like, I'm always curious about the online programs and the way you guys ran the session. It's phenomenal, and I prefer being in class, but I think you kind of sold this to me. The question I had more was, do you have any data around what the progress has been for people who went into this program in terms of the career, how it changed, how it helped them?
Doris can put up her hand, but I can't, it's at least 2 or 3 times in the 2 years that we've done this program, I've received an email from someone, well, actually, we have one big LinkedIn community. There's 140 of us now. And I see on LinkedIn when someone got a promotion and someone has a role as a CIO. I can think of 3 times where someone has emailed me and said, by the way, thanks for acknowledging my new CIO role. Getting my CIO.D was a huge part of me selling myself in either being promoted into that role or getting a new role at a different organization. So 3 or 4 of those emails is pretty big out of 140 people, and they're very rewarding. So, and there's probably ones I don't know about, but feedback has been phenomenal in terms of how it helps people's careers and the notoriety that goes along with this Rotman's program and the designation. I think I see Ranjit.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Derek, I can be the 5th here for you. So when I took the program, I was not a CIO. Formerly, I had some consulting contracts on the side where I provided fractional services, but not an actual titled role as an FTE. That has now changed. I do now have a CIO role for higher education in British Columbia, and I fully believe the credential that I earned as part of being cohort 3 is one of the things that helped me stand out, because the search was done by an executive recruitment firm. So while it was one of the 20% that was publicly posted, it wasn't an internal network. I did not know anyone in the organization, and I was not given access to anyone because it was being done by an external recruitment firm. And I know over 100 people applied. So what the actual number is, 101, 500, I have no idea. But I can tell you that the first interview, if you want to call it that, is only like a 15-minute conversation with one of the recruiters at the firm. And to be honest, they're really saying, do you have a pulse? Are you who you say you are? What is your language skills? Can you answer these 3 questions? And they give the same 3 questions to everyone. And the second interview was with the partner of the firm. And amazing. I fully believe one of the reasons I made it from the first to second interview was because of the credential. Because during the interview with the partner, they did say they were very interested in the certification. And then she also said she had never even heard of it. And so we did talk about the credential during that second interview. So was that the reason I got the job? Absolutely not. It comes back to the conversation on AI, on experience, how you're utilizing the skill sets you have. But I fully believe that was one of the metrics where you look at that 100+ individuals. Okay, what's this? There's a credential here we've never heard of. Do some investigation. Okay, let's pull them back for a second interview. So was it the answer? No. Or was the reason? No, but it was definitely a differentiator. And at the time, the third cohort, there was only roughly 30 people each one. So I was able to say with confidence, there's only 100 people in the world that have this credential. It's changed now. Maybe it's 150. I don't know how many were in cohort 4 or 5, but it was definitely a selling point. So whoever asked that question, I think if you don't have that title currently, I think it definitely has helped for you to stand out amongst hundreds of others who are applying for that limited number of personal or public advertised positions.
I love that feedback, Ranjit. Thank you very much. Except we might have to cancel the next cohort to keep it as exclusive as it was for you. That's the only part.
Absolutely not.
And James has a very similar story. So thank you for sharing that on the chat, James. And Brad, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. So Brad Weil, part of cohort number 1, and I can certainly echo the same comments. I was not at the CIO level when I took the program. I now am, and I credit this program as a huge factor on helping me succeed and reach that level. So for those that are contemplating this program, if you'd like to reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to share my thoughts and how this has helped me with my journey and reach that CIO level.
Thanks a lot, Brad. Love it. I think the story I was telling was about you. So thanks for putting your hand up.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
yeah.
Derek. Good to see you again. We'll lead again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Ian.
Yes, good day all, and again, great to reconnect. I look forward to reconnecting with those that are going to be at the Pure conference. Again, great props to Brad and the accomplishments. While my title hasn't changed, my presence and executive presence has evolved, but the designation did assist in me getting my first board position because it stood out and it garnered attention that doesn't exist in the marketplace. So I'm dipping my toes in new waters and new experiences, but we're continuing the journey and echoing what others have said here. And networking can't be touched. The relationships that you're building and the professionalism, the whole experience. While it's academics and we have to write exams and stuff, I wish we could do it on a continuing basis. There's always more to learn. So thank you very much for that and the boost that you've brought to me and my career.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks for being a part of the community. Any other questions from anyone who's maybe considering joining one of the future cohorts?
There was one question in the chat about for sitting CIOs. That's a great question. And the parallel program I'm going to raise is Rotman's Director's Education Program, the DEP program. So there's two kinds of people that take that program, or three kinds. Those that are board members, people that are board members, number one, people that want to become board members, but third will be people that just want to learn how to better interact with board members. Why do I raise that? Even if you are a CIO, the program delivers a lot of value because the idea is the CIO role is continuing to evolve. That's number one. So you keep pace with trends in the industry. You continue to build your networks, but you have reassurance that and confidence that the policies and strategies you're deploying are sort of best in class as confirmed by shared stories from others, but also from what you learn from the speakers and the faculty. So I think it's equally important for sitting CIOs. It reaffirms their skills and provides confidence that they're up to date and delivering the most up to date and effective strategies. Derek, you may want to add something.
I'll just add that in the cohorts we've had today, probably 30% of the attendees are at the CIO level already and just looking to add that moniker and that designation and be a part of this community. So yeah, it targets both. Yeah, Ranjit, there is a mixer. Stay tuned. It's already booked at the Pure Forum.
And everybody on this call got an invite to that except Waleed.
Waleed, if you'd be amiable to coming out to Vancouver, you'd be the guest of honor. Trust me.
Okay, there you go. In fact, it's very kind.
Amazing. Okay.
I have a quick question, gents, if that's okay.
Yeah.
My name is James Sawyer. I did my MBA at Rotman. I'm a big Dr. Waleed fan. Thanks for the discussion, guys. I'm just curious, how would you contrast this to the MBA program? It was a great experience for me, and I'm somewhat operating in this role right now in my company, but I certainly want to harness AI strategy a bit more than I am right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's good to see you again, James. It's been how many years?
A couple. I graduated in 21.
And we were going to go on a study.
A great little company here, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think we were going to go on a study tour, and then it got canceled, if I remember correctly.
That's right. We were going to go to Asia, and then there was COVID. Then we were going to go to the US. Then there was further COVID restrictions. So we had set up something with Siemens, I think, even in Mexico together. And yeah,
good memory. Yeah, so I remember you. I remember the great conversations we had, and I remember the fabulous question you asked in one of the forums. But in any event, good to see you again, James. And what I would say is, the fact that you did the Rotman MBA will help in understanding the material, but the real value comes from how it's positioned. It's really positioned for a CIO role. It's very, very different than an MBA. The other big part of it is the conversations that you have with everyone else in the class, it really brings a completely different perspective. You'll understand the finance stuff and the strategy stuff. You got that in your MBA, but there'll be a lot of additional learnings in terms of how that's applied in the world of CIOs. I look forward to seeing you in the program, James.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Any last questions before we wrap up? Amazing. Looking forward to meeting some new faces in either April or our October cohort of 2026. If you have any questions, please feel to reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, Derek Cullen, and Waleed, thank you so much for your wisdom and your strategy and your compelling discussion, particularly around AI and some of the challenges in technology leadership with AI. Thank you.
And I'll add, if anyone's ever around the Rotman School, you send me an email if schedules align. Always happy to sit down and have a coffee. Good luck, everyone, and I hope to see many of you in upcoming programming. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.